Hi there, it's Pastor David here at St. Benjamin's Lutheran Church in Westminster. We're providing this Get Acquainted with Returning to Indoor Worship video for you to kind of know and get a feel for what we're going to be doing in terms of return to our worship space in the sanctuary beginning on Sunday, October 4. 9:15 is our service time. We are going to ask people to do RSVPs like we've been doing during drive-in church. And so I'm just going to take it from here at the front door and tell you a little bit about our new protocols, how we'll be doing things. Of course, we will come through the narthex. Everyone will come in this way through the front doors. We have our COVID precaution listing here with the stations, and we'll talk about that as we are in this space. You are to wear your mask when you come from your car across the parking lot to the front door and once in the church. You really need to wear the mask. We'd ask that you do that until you at least are seated in your pews. If not, also keeping it on during the whole service. We're also going to be handing out on that first Sunday face shields that will provide an opportunity. If you don't want to wear the mask the whole time, we'll wear your face shield. We will be giving you a face shield. We're providing these. And I'm going to take this mask off so I can be heard a little bit better and so I can do a little bit better breathing. There we go. During this video. But we're going to be giving these to you. It's your responsibility, like you take care of your mask at home. You can take your shield with you, take it home, keep it, bring it with your church things the next week. We will not clean these. We will not keep these here. These are yours. And you place it on your head like this, so that it's a shield. And between the mask and the shield, we're protecting ourselves. And those are from us giving germs or us getting germs. It's just a really good neighborly thing to do. These are really easy to put on and off. They're comfortable. And here again, I'm going to take it off for the ease of you seeing me during this video, but this will be your responsibility. So once you come in, you're going to come over here and pick up worship packets that are here on the table. And again, we need to have these made up ahead of time for you and your family. If you're an individual, of course, it's just for you. If you're part of a family group, it's going to be like in drive-in church. We will place the number of communion elements in the little communion packages, wine and grape juice. You'll let us know by noon on Saturday so that our altar guild people can put these packets together Saturday afternoon for Sunday morning pickup. And inside will be, as we've been doing, the worship bulletin and the communion packages. The grape juice ones are marked with a G on top. We also include for the families our children's bulletins as well. But these will be here for you to pick up. We will not have people handing these to you because we want as little human touch by other people of these worship packets. So they'll be on this table arranged alphabetically, so hopefully you can make easy choice of which is yours. The other thing that you'll do when you come into that space is what is listed on the stations. You will get your temperature read by this thermometer. It's just a simple placement in front of the forehead. Our filmer of today's video, Creason, is 93.9 temperature, so she is good, and she can certainly come in. We'll also ask you if you're feeling well today. We'll also ask you if, in fact, you've been in contact or had somebody in your household that has had COVID. We need to record all these things for the CDC and for our purposes here at the church. So we will have somebody doing that on an iPad. And it will hopefully be brisk that we're able to do this and have several of these people doing the check. The other thing we have here, of course, is everybody's friend, hand sanitizer, and you'll take care of, after you come in, pick up your worship packet, take care of a little bit of hand sanitizer on your hands, and there you go. So from this point, after the health screen and the picking up of the packets, we will, incidentally, we have the pour box here. You can either leave your offering now as you come in, or probably better to do it as you come in rather than when you leave, because we're going to be exiting another way. But we will have you come in, and then the ushers, we will have several ushers that will seat you, and we would hope that you'll follow their direction, because in this space, which is pretty big, we're going to try to social distance as much as we can. Over the weeks that we're in this space, we'll get to a habit. You will probably be asked to be seated as far forward as possible, unless you really have a feeling that you have to be in your old seating area. And here again, we'll have to social distance. But we'd ask that family groups would be seated together, individuals by themselves, and that there be a comfortable distance between you and your neighbors in the pews. And then after you would be seated for worship, and so on and so forth, we'd also have the ushers dismissing us. And here again, it would be those who are seated as close to the front as possible being dismissed first. And we would go over to here, go through to the fellowship hall, and go down through our wonderfully renovated, some of you will get to see it for the first time, fellowship hall, and go down that way, or go through the Macklin Lounge handicap ramp access doors. We have a place for you to dispose of all your worship packet items. The used communion packages go in here, the plastic bag that you get your bulletin and your communion items in, and your bulletin. We may find that we want to put our little recycle containers there for the paper, and the communion things go in the trash can, but we want to have as little exposure of us to those items. We don't want to handle those. We just want those to go in the trash and to go in the recycling, and it's taken care of. So again, the traffic pattern would be the flow from the parking lot to the narthex, the health screening, and worship packet pickup, coming in for worship, and then leaving by the fellowship hall or the Macklin Lounge ramp door. So a couple other little things to tell you about in this worship space. We are planning on having singing, but here again, we would ask that you would wear the mask so that your germs are kept in your mask. And if not, if you're using the shield, we'd like you to use both, the shield and the mask. But we would ask that if you're using the shield, that you try again to not be singing with such gusto that there's a lot of moisture in the air from your singing. But it would come to the shield and be protecting others and so on and so forth. From you and from others. During the children's sermon time, we've resumed this in our drive-in church. We're going to continue to use the hula hoops. The kids, they're not going to sit cluster here in front of me on the steps. We're going to do social distance in our bubbles in terms of these hula hoops. And you want to get in a hula hoop as the child and pay attention to Pastor David, but we want to be each of you, these are too close together, an arm's length, and we'll just have to spread out around here. We'll make it work. But that will be during the children's time, and then the children will leave and go over to the fellowship hall wearing their masks for their little bit of Sunday school that occurs with a couple of adult leaders. There will be no sharing of the peace. We may come to a point in time where we're going to have a sharing of the peace, but it would be very much not moving around. You would nod, you would do a high five, air high five, a wave to those that are around you, sharing God's peace. But I don't think we're going to do that the first couple Sundays. We're just going to kind of get back into the space and get comfortable and feel our way into this. As I said, there will be no passing of the offering plates. That's a way thing of the past. We're not going to be doing that, I don't think, ever again. We're receiving the offering through the alms box, and the tellers will take it from there. Communion will be very much like it has been during drive-in church. Nobody will come forward for the communion meal. We will have you have those individual communion packages with you in the pew, and at the time, after I've said the words of institution, we've prayed the Lord's Prayer, and it's time to receive this wonderful Lord's Supper, this gift of God, in these little prepackaged bread and wine or grape juice packages. I will say, all of us together, the body of Christ given for you, and then you consume the little piece of wafer or bread, and then you consume the wine and grape juice after I say, the blood of Christ shed for you. We're going to have PowerPoint once again. That'll be a wonderful tool. We won't need the worship bulletins quite as much as we've needed them as we've been outside. So the PowerPoint will be a wonderful way for us to have that tool and to be able to focus on God's Word through the PowerPoint and our songs. Our liturgy may be a little on the reduced side, a little bit on the skimpier side. It won't be a full liturgy, as I would call it. We won't have many of the liturgical parts of the service, like the Kyrie and the hymn of praise, or sung responses. And these first couple of weeks, here again, we're feeling our way into this and making more of less. I want to remind you that we do have restrooms out here to my right, downstairs. They're the brand new restrooms. We have 3 of them. We have the men's room, we have the women's room, and then we have a unisex, accessible restroom, and then the restrooms downstairs underneath the narthex, also for your use. I would ask that you try to wipe down surfaces like sink, like doorknobs, door pushes after you've gone in and out. Some of the things that we all are trying to do now in our public restroom areas when we go to restaurants. You'll be very conscious of wiping down after we've used different surfaces in the restroom. And again, please dispose of your worship packet items in those designated spots, trash can or recycle bin. I just think we have a great future ahead of us being back in this indoor worship space. The pew cushions have been removed for ease of cleaning. We're not going to have to do super duper cleaning because we removed those pew cushions, and because there's really so much time between our being in here from one Sunday to the next. We don't anticipate that we'll have to do any cleaning on Sunday after we've used this space, unless we get to be so full in our social distancing in this space that we're going to have to add another worship service, and then we're going to have a crew of our volunteers to come and give it just a really good wipe down between services. But I think we're going to be able to offer a safe, reverent, strengthening of faith kind of worship. We're going to get to be the people of God in God's house, a little bit closer together here at St. Benjamin's. We will be doing, beginning October 4th, a live stream of the service. We're not sure which platform we're going to use, whether it be YouTube or Facebook Live, but whichever one we use, we're going to link it to the other, so that an opportunity for people that still need to be away from this space will be able to have a sense of being here through the gift of technology and the gift of the computer. And it's going to be great because they're going to get to see people, they're going to get to see the choir, they're going to get to hear things, and we just think there's really a lot of great possibilities ahead of us. I will continue after October begins to do a YouTube devotion for weekend viewing. It will not be or look like what we've had during these months, where we've done the filming of pretty much the whole service with 3 hymns and scripture reading and so on and so forth. But I'll be doing a kind of devotional thing, probably from my office and from my computer there, that I'll be able to send out to you so that you can appreciate another devotional time besides the Sunday morning worship. It's kind of what I'm thinking at this point. So that's what we know from here. So I'm thinking at this point, maybe we'll walk over as if we're leaving this place and taking care of disposing of our worship packets and get us through the fellowship hall and then out to our cars once again. So why don't you come along? So the disposal of our worship packet items here, I think we'll put the little box down there to recycle the paper, so we can do that and leave by the Macklin Lounge door. Once you leave the space, that's up to you then, how you interface with people. Here again, we'd ask that you wear masks, probably in respect for other people, and there's being one in respect for you. And we can also go out to fellowship hall. The 3 restrooms. Looks a little bit different configuration. They're beautiful inside. Our water cooler right there for you to use if need be. And then you come through this space where our children will have had their little time together. And then we leave by way up the fellowship hall door, which now has a nice little alcove. Protect us from the elements, so to speak. And we go out into the world and ready to serve God's people in this way, in this time, in this place. Thanks so much for your attention. If you have any questions, always feel free to ask me. Email me, text me. Jeff Davis, my assistant, will be another good resource person during these weeks. And your church council, of course, is always ready to hear some of your comments or your concerns. And we just pray that this is going to be a great time ahead of us, being able to be God's people of St. Benjamin's in our indoor worship, in our sanctuary, and be able to appreciate the organ music once again. God is with us in these days, these months that are ahead of us. God blesses us richly. So go now and be a blessing. Thank you.